Oh, fuck. Cheers for that, Luke. There we go. Right, I'll do it all again. You heard everyone's intros. Yes, we are back once again. There we go. Thanks, Luke. I upgraded to Windows 11, and I knew there'd be a problem, but I didn't think to check my mic level. But I hope you can hear me now, Luke, and Pixel Slapper, and Guardian Grimlaw. So yeah, thanks for that reminder, Luke, saying you can't hear stubz. Yeah, I'm back again. As I say, for the Renegade Master, for Removable who can't make it. So if you didn't hear what I said, Removable Sanity can't join us because his little one's not very well. So he can't make it, unfortunately. I hope his kid's better soon. So, Fimba, welcome. And yeah, so it's all good now. I've not done this in a bit. So, what should we talk about first? Can't do WAS now because we're really going to do it based off Removable Sanity because he went.
Did Masuko do his intro?
Oh yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
and welcome to Masuko. There we go. I'm a right noob. There we go. Welcome to Masuko. That threw me off. Me messing it up. How are you doing, mate?
Good topic to start with.
Yeah. I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. It's really nice to be joining you guys again. It's like get to discuss all sorts of stuff, and I think a lot of has happened since last time. So I think there will be no like lack of topics for this time or anything.
No,
I think we are good.
You're in the loop. You are, Masuku, compared to me. Because I didn't know about this whole. Apparently, HellDivers. There was a big situation. There was. HellDivers 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you probably know more about it. But is it right that basically they forced everyone to link, even the PC players, to have a PlayStation account?
Yes.
And then they removed it from 177 stores globally, the game, or something. Yeah. There's countries and people that have bought it can no longer access it. And I don't know the ins and outs. I suppose you may know more, but that's not good, what they did. No. And apparently it wasn't the developers, it was actually PlayStation that did it. It was. Yeah. They don't even own the game. They're just a publisher. But by the sounds of it, they've reversed it all now after the outrage.
Yeah, I just sort of comment on that they do own the IP and they.
They do. Well, they do own the IP. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know they own the IP.
In the chat, but yeah, as far as I know, they own the IP.
If it's wrong, he will appear. I can guarantee it.
Yeah, he will. Like, just got to rub your lamp and he'll appear.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really, I don't know what's maybe Vici, you know more about it. Why there is still countries in the world that you cannot get like a PlayStation account, or it's not like that.
I think it's I think it's just return on investment really for Sony. I mean, if you look at Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo. I don't know, maybe you can find the numbers, but the US, Japan, maybe Hong Kong, a bit of China, Singapore, Australia, the affluent countries over there. And then you've got, England, France, Germany, Italy, Spain. And if you just those sort of maybe 10 countries, maybe throw in Canada, you've got 80% of your market in terms of sales. So, and and I think that's where their concentration is, and so they're releasing their content on PC, hoping that those other 100 or 150 countries where PSN is not accessible, it's they're buying your content on PC. And I think for Sony, what their primarily strategy is look, we've got But it's like Nintendo, right? And it's like with Microsoft as well. Microsoft just don't do it as well. Is that the reason why sometimes you find hardware shortages or software shortages back in the day is because the more you can't have something, the more you want it. So I think Sony have probably done their homework and said, look, we've made a lot of money out of this. Now there's an opportunity to gain more PSN users if that really is the be all and end all for them. And it shouldn't take people long. Why should people be upset about it? But obviously, they've focused their energy and they've got on doing it, and whatever the strategy was. And unfortunately, they've garnered the sort of wrong sort of attention towards themselves, and now they find themselves having to reverse a policy, which is fine. But I think they would have been prepared, knowing that it may well as not have been received very well, and it wasn't. Yeah, but this is nothing new for Sony. I remember back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, during the time when they were selling the Sony Trinitron, and what was that handheld, the tape recorder? I forgot the name of it now.
Oh, the Walkman.
Walkman. There you go, the Walkman. Thank you. I remember when Sony in Japan, they were trying to get their products all over the world. And I don't know if you might be too young to remember, but did you know that Selfridges used to be their distributor in the UK?
Really? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, back in the day. So what they did is that they gave distribution rights to lots and lots of different countries, exclusive distribution rights. And at that time, obviously, bricks and mortar was the only way you could really, buy TVs and Walkmans, etc. And then once the brand had established themselves in all these countries, and once their products had established themselves in all these countries, what they did, especially in Asian countries, where all these distributors had made huge commitments to marketing and establishing the brand, they cancelled all those contracts and set up their Sony stores. I don't know if you've still got them in major shopping centres in the UK, but then they just became Sony branded and Sony owned retail stores in the 80s and 90s. So it's just Microsoft don't do it as well. They do try to do it. Obviously, in other industries, they do very well. Nintendo do it, Sony do it, everybody does it. It's just a case of, look, we'll give a bit of margin to somebody else, let them invest, establish us, and then we'll go in and, on the whole pipeline, so to speak. And it's just business at the end of the day. But obviously, with consumers and the access that consumers have got now to being heard online and so on and so forth, there's very little that they can do, right? And I think what's that? The tide. I like it when the tide changes, right? They thought they may get away with it, and then I think the community have got together, if that's what you want to call them, and change the flow of the tide. So,
to be honest, I can't blame people really for kicking off about it, because it's a silly decision, really.
I think there's a really easy way to put it, right? If you assume, if you're a company, anything you say, do, manage, create, offer, pursue, or own, you've always got to have a mindset or a starting point that 50% or considerably more people will disagree with you, and 50% or considerably more will not agree with you. And I think, and there's an infinitely more chance of being castigated when ridiculed, right, rather than sort of commended. And I think businesses these days, they know that, right? And but unfortunately, online, right, the reason why people call it an outrage is because I personally think, from where I'm seeing, is that cordial communication is an art. We're as a society, we're rapidly losing, right? And there's far more often. You're not going to please everybody, basically, is what I'm saying. And you're far more.
But if they were going to do this, they should have done it from day one. You see what I mean? They've implemented it.
Yeah. But perhaps they didn't, because they wanted to see how the product was going to do.
That's true.
How many might potentially sell. They made a ton of money out of it already, and that, unfortunately, you've got to go with. There's more chance you're going to get castigated than commended online.
That's true.
Like I said, and they've made a lot of money over the last. How long has it been out? Does anybody know? A couple of months.
It's been a while now. But Luke did go poof. Yes, they do own the IP.
I got something right today then, but I I personally think that all the outrage should still be aimed towards Redfall from Arcane. They should never be let off the hook. But that was a joke, so I hope it was okay to throw.
I'll just do some shout outs again because I did shout everyone out when the microphone wasn't picking up. So Pixel Slapper, welcome. Dire Prism, thanks for popping in. Guardian Grimmore, we have to have a meetup soon, it's been too long. Luke Steele, thanks for popping in. Fimber as well. And Masuku's in the chat, so I'll just give Masuku a shout out too. But yeah, there's some great comments, and welcome to the Jinner as well. The Jinner has appeared. And where are we? Dire Prism's got some good. He said, well, even if Sony PlayStation didn't own the IP, they would still call the shots because they are the publisher, which is true.
It's true to a degree. It just not every contract is exactly the same, right? So it just really depends on what the terms are from the outset. And I guess you can ask Luke, right? If every M&A contract he does is the same. If it was, then lawyers wouldn't be needed. So I think it really is a case by case. And if you do own the IP and you retain the IP, you do have a lot more say, I would say. But yeah, I think the point's valid, though, nonetheless.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on it, Suke?
Yeah, so I think it's totally like they were trying the eyes with this thing, and well, it backfired. But maybe what I was reading on X, it looks like Ghost of Tsushima that is coming to PC next. They are going to try the same thing, like you can play the single player side without a PlayStation ID, but if you want to play the multiplayer side, then you will need the PlayStation ID.
Well, so from that perspective, sorry to put in, but Microsoft do this with their games when they go multi-platform.
Yeah.
They do it. So when you play, I know Minecraft was obviously not made by Xbox, but games like that you have to log into a Microsoft account to carry play the game. So PlayStation's trying the same tactic, but they should have done it from the start, really. But sorry, carry on. I probably put it in there. Sorry.
I think Mizuko, I don't know if you agree or not, but I saw the tweet that they put. I just had a quick look at it, and they're saying we're still learning or something, about a PC. That to me is like, well, if you're still learning, you're not really fit for the job because this is not a new issue. This is something that's, I mean, when I had to set up a Ubisoft account, a Rockstar account, I think an Activision and Diablo, it's an annoying step. I mean, it doesn't sort of stop me from buying the game and playing it if I want to play it, but
it is.
I guess I think it's just so transparent that what cause and effect Sony wanted was just so transparent, and I think gamers are just saying, look, we've had enough, and this is a successful enough game to kick back against and make their feelings known, as people often do now online.
Yeah,
because
you can.
There's anonymity that goes with that. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I don't know what you think. But yeah, that's why I find it kind of disingenuous, tweets like that. Just come out and say, look, we made a mistake. We won't force you, but if you can do it, do it. If you don't want it, then don't do it.
Gamers prefer honesty. If they just said it like that, VJ, it would have gone over better. They would.
I don't know. I mean, these guys are media trained. They know what they should or shouldn't say. So I'm not one to, but I can see the tweet for what it is. So, I suppose most people can. Maybe they can't. It's just a case of, is your focus and attention there, or have you got better things to do?
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming in the future PS IPs that they are going to bring to PC. So maybe small victory for PC players for the moment, but I think it's coming. And how much it's going to, limit the earning potential, like VJ was saying, like probably they catch more than 80% of the market. So
yeah, but with PC, they won't be able to get away because PC players just go F you. We're not playing your game. PC players are some of the most. They will fight back, and they.
I'd say, yeah, I wouldn't say all. I would say, a percentage. What that
massive
percentage
percentage of them will. They're not like console gamers. They don't just sit down and take it and pay to play online. Things like that. They will. These are the people that will just refund, and the PC world's very different to the console world. It is. I'm not saying they all will, but they are. If you want to go up against the fan base, the PlayStation the PC fan base isn't one to upset. It's much easier to upset a console gamer.
To me that PC gamers have huge egos.
Well, it's just because they're so used to just being on the Steam platform or the whatever platform, and they shouldn't have to make any different accounts. You see, that's what it is.
I'm so glad you're on the show today, Masuka, because I think you're the only one that's catching my jokes today. Normally it's removable, but they're so subtle. Sorry, Mr. Stubz, please continue.
Well, it's not the size of the graphics cards, but how are you using it?
Guardian Grimnor says Valve were issuing refunds due to the outrage skipping their normal refunds terms. So basically, people, because usually their normal refund term is 2 hours of play, and apparently Valve were just allowing people that went above the hours to get refunds because there's such volume of them. I don't normally do that, so Valve must have actually agreed with them. We know what Gabe's like.
Yeah, he'd have loved to have stuck it to Sony. So
yeah, he would have done.
Can I ask you the size of this sort of kickback? The last one I can think of is when they announced Now I might be wrong because I'm out of touch, but was the last big one the one when Xbox showcased the Xbox? Not the Series X. What was the Xbox One? And they wanted online permanently or DRM or something like that.
I would say. Sorry to.
Was that
I would say Cyberpunk was the biggest kickback.
Oh, really? In what way?
Well, can you remember how they banned PlayStation banned Cyberpunk from the store?
Oh,
can you remember that?
Oh, right, yeah. But I do, but I don't know if there was an outrage, right, for that.
No, you're probably right. No, the Xbox One was probably the outrage then. You're probably right.
I mean, I'm sure there's been loads of controversy since then, but that's the one that I can remember.
I do remember that because I bought an Xbox One. I remember because Guardian Grimnor bought one. We all got one together, and we got our Xboxes, and we sold our Xboxes not long after getting it. And basically nearly went to PlayStation.
What did you do in the meantime?
What's that?
Did you take your Xbox back, or did you
literally
keep it?
Sold the Xbox off and bought a PlayStation 4? We did.
Oh, I see.
I only returned to Xbox at 2 to 3 years at the end of the generation for Gears of War, because had they had Gears of War, it would have been a different story. But Xbox One launched, there was no Gears of Wars available. You see? But no, we all copied each other and went to PlayStation.
Oh, and just to be clear, I don't play HellDivers. So,
I don't either, actually. I don't even know how this really came up, but I just thought to talk about it. This wasn't planned at all. It was. I just heard about this big situation today. I did.
You know, big corporations, they love to chance their hand, and if it doesn't go according to plan, they'll issue an apology. It's just horses for courses, really. You see it every day in all sorts of industries, right?
Yeah, you do. So, have you got any games you wanted to mention, Masuku? Because I've got 2 trailers. I have got the Xbox ID show. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I've been so busy. Yeah. But if you wanted to mention that show, I can pull it up. But I have got Dragon Ruins, and I've got Citizen Sleeper loaded. So if you want one of them loading up, which one do you want?
Yeah, we can start with the Dragon Ruins because that's an easy game for me to talk through, because it's it's like it's one of these indie games that I found in Steam, and it's like a it's like a very traditional looking dungeon crawler, like a little bit mix of 80s and 90s
He
graphic
does look that
styles.
way, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah, yeah. But the interesting thing about this game is like that they try to streamline the RPG side. So it feels for me that it's a little bit like vampire survivors, that
Okay,
you
yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that you take away the you know inputting the attack buttons. So you are basically just controlling where you are going, or if you are retreating, and so on. So it's basically a vast game, just controlling with your arrow keys. So it's like making it more simple and very very fast paced because of that.
Okay. It reminds me, the look of it, kind of a game you play on probably the Amstrad or the Commodore 64 with the old tapes. It does.
Yeah,
That retro
yeah, yeah,
vibe,
yeah.
it looks
Yeah,
like.
yeah, totally. That kind of era of game. So it's like I think that this will resonate with people who like Vampire Survivors. It's not, maybe not as fast paced, even though they are trying to streamline it, but it's much faster than, like, maybe VJ knows these traditional wizardry games from the
I was
80s.
just I was just laughing at the studio's emblem and what they're called.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Grave
YouTube
Robber
channel with loads of
Foundation.
videos on. I just grabbed one of the videos, but they've got a YouTube channel
No, no,
with
but
loads of videos
it
on.
comes,
Yeah.
it comes up with their logo, Grave Robber Foundation, and I'm thinking that's quite funny actually. It
Yeah.
reminds me of, or it just reminds me of Bloodborne.
Yeah.
Oh, the
But yeah,
Grave Robber Foundation. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Mm.
it's kind of funny. I thought. Uh, there you
But
go.
yeah, it's like did you, VJ, play any of those classical wizardry games?
Oh, I mean, I think so. I mean, look, I'm an old man. No, I'm not that old, but I've played so many games, and I'm just trying to recall the games that you're mentioning. I've definitely played games like this, but actually looks really good.
Mm.
I don't know. Have you finished it, or are you quite
Yeah,
quite late?
yeah, I finished it. It's like it is surprisingly large area, but because you are able to do it so fast, so I think the first round I did that was
Is
successful.
it a
It
rogue?
took
Is it a roguelike game, or is it like an action adventure with following a story?
yeah, it is a little bit roguelike. You are right. It has that element to it, but it's not punishing so much. So
Mm.
it's like I'm not sure. Maybe Hades would be a good system of the punishment of dying. So not
Oh,
not too much. So you just continue after dying, get small penalty, save some of the money and so on, and then you can go back to the this dungeon crawling and try to find the end boss. And it's
dungeon
this
crawl.
this this one didn't have story, and somehow I think that it's better for it. I mean, like,
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to know if you can capture the wolf or the imp or other monsters, and then after you've defeated them, can you take them back to your little nest and then cook them and turn them into delicious meals?
No, no, didn't have that kind of mechanics. No, no, no,
Oh,
That's
no.
the
what a
DLC.
cool,
Yeah,
what a cool mechanic.
yeah,
Delicious in dungeon, Masuko.
yeah, yeah.
How much are we talking for this one?
This one was five euros, so
Not
very
bad.
cheap.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
It's not bad.
So I have been very lucky this year. I got Felvidec and then got this game. So very this kind of old school but they are trying some new things also with the RPG side of things.
Okay.
So I have been happy.
Pixel Slapper reckons it looks like a Fantasy Star ripoff.
Ah,
Oh.
yeah. They were also a little bit like this kind of style.
Yeah.
But they were much more colorful. What I remember.
I mean, even the early Dragon Quest games, like this.
Yeah.
Even the early Final Fantasy games, right, on the SNES.
Yeah.
And the NES. Yeah. So that's why, Masuka, it was difficult to answer your question. I'm kind of getting confused between different games.
Yeah.
But if I switch to Japanese video games, it's easier to make a correlation.
Yeah.
But not a realization, just a cheap correlation.
Yeah. But yeah.
Okay.
And the if stops if you had the Citizen Sleeper.
There we go. There we go. It's on.
That one was another really good game. I played it through the Game Pass, so I was surprised that this was there. So this one is this if you guys know this Disco Elysium, this
I've
is
heard of it.
Yeah,
I have.
Yeah. So that game is famous for it that there is no combat, but it's also taking the RPG mechanics that you have this dice rolling, and it's like very traditional in that aspect. But the difference with this game is like that you are not exactly dice rolling per se, but you get every turn like a set of dices that you can see at the top of the screen. So then you have different things that you can do in the game world, and all of them have risk to them. So you have to a little bit strategically think about like which one I am going to play safe, put the number 6 and get the good results, and which one I can play a little bit riskier and take the number 1s, number 2s, and try to play it that way. So it ends up a little bit like a management game, I guess you could say it. And this is like this kind of space station that this character ends up, and the story bits are the best thing about it. Like really good writing, and it's one of those games that the graphics in the backgrounds are not the most advanced, or I would say like
I wish the Evangelion games look like that. Look like this.
yeah. So it's like it's a little bit like a mix of, in that aspect, it's a little bit of mix of visual novels and role-playing games. So they are showing some visuals, but there is a lot of text. So you are going through a lot of text, and there is no voice acting, and the music is very much like this kind of background ambience music, I would call it, and so on. It creates a very relaxing feeling when you are playing the game, and
Is it comes? Who's the studio behind this, Masuko? Do you know?
I will quickly check it. It's the same studio who made the game called Other Waters, that is also very famous for its imaginative gameplay loop, where you are playing the AI guiding the player through a I think it was a planet full of water or something like that. So they are a studio who is doing their game design a little bit outside of the box. And I was really so it went away from the Game Pass, and I got one of the endings, and I was checking the wiki out of this game, and it has 2 more endings. So I think I will be getting this game on PC and playing it through the other endings, because like when I was playing it through, like I quite quickly noticed that there is so many choices, so many branches, and it's like it's when you are playing it, you are imagining like how are they going to able to you know cross all of these different plot points, and how it's going to work in the end. And because it's a little bit like management game, so I couldn't even do everything on the first time playing it through. So I think I have to.
I was going to ask you, Masuko, the user interface.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the user interface is like, but the presentation seems to be really good.
Yeah, super sleek. You are totally true. Yeah. And there is what I understood. There is like 2 categories of character archetypes. So there is the nerdy, this kind of hacker type, or the another one is like a engineer type or mechanical type of worker. So this also gives some traits that you can either more hack your way through the game, or using your understanding of machines like the physical way more. So it's like I hope it would be still in Game Pass that you could try it out. But anyway, if you can see it in discount somewhere, it's worth trying out. What about stubz? Are you interested in any this kind of visual novel style games where there's a lot of reading?
No, not really.
No.
It looks a lot. Looks like a lot to do. That does there. But if you enjoyed it, that's all that matters. It is.
Yeah. And another type of person who would like it is anime fans or sci-fi fans.
Oh, really?
Because they
I know.
Oh,
so
yeah. Actually, if you read it,
that's
yeah.
why.
Maybe.
That's why I know it's a bit old, but that's why I mentioned as soon as I saw it. It just gave me, just reminded me of Evangelion.
Yeah. And Cowboy Bebop, if you have seen that, it has a very similar vibe to that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not exactly the same as Evangelion, but it's just got that sort of dystopian, futuristic kind of vibe to it, right? Especially, where the characters live in Tokyo 3 or Tokyo 2, and the way that the buildings sort of rise in and up and in out of the ground, and then descend back down, and then you see the little cubicles that they live in, and it's all very sort of simple but futuristic. But this is like kind of the visual style like 20 years on. If Evangelion was perhaps made today, that's why I was wondering: is this a Western studio or an Asian studio, or just a Western studio that's sort of implementing an Asian vibe? So it was just kind of a little bit. But
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I like the shows, like Death Note, Evangelion, and Ergo Proxy. Was it? I forgot what it's called now. you remember that one, Ergo Proxy? And it was like old.
Yeah. That one was really good.
Yeah,
It's like it has stayed in my mind for a long time. It's like a very good imagination of this kind of
yeah,
mix of humans and computers.
yeah. I just find the visual style and the technical process of putting those shows together from 20 years ago versus some of the more sort of software driven animes you get these days,
Mm,
where they're using more and more software to implement visual effects and rendering effects on top of their anime sort of layers. I
mm.
just prefer anime in its more raw form from the 90s. It's just an artistic preference, I guess, right? So
Yeah.
you probably know more about it than I do.
Yeah. I think that there has been in sci-fi there has been so many. I would say that sci-fi is one of those areas of art that really like invites certain type of people who have like this kind of certain technical understanding, maybe some kind of architecture understanding,
Yeah.
and they are very much capable of building like believable worlds that are a little bit to the future.
Yeah, it wasn't so much that. If you take like the Ghibli animes, right,
Oh yeah, like them.
from the
Yes.
from the very first animes, like say Princess Mononoke,
Mm,
like it's very much hand drawn. You can see that, right? But if you look at some of the more modern animes, perhaps even Spirited Away or
mm,
maybe A Boy and His Heron or Boy and the Heron, you can see that they're layering in visual effects programs on top of their anime. Does that make sense? So
yeah,
like
yeah.
using VFX software on top of their animes, which it still kind of keeps the core foundation of what they're presenting, but sometimes I find some modern anime. Take Sandland for example. It
Mm,
just looks doesn't look like anime. It looks like it's computer generated, if that makes sense, like in a game engine or something. Like
mm,
rendered sequences. Perhaps it is. I don't know, but
yeah.
I guess I just prefer the more simple, just a few layers, right? That kind of anime and slightly less frames, like slightly less smoother.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
I've probably confused you, haven't I? No.
No. It's like I understand what you are saying, and yeah.
Dire Prisms added there are definitely some 3D modelling in The Boy and the Heron, but still a beautiful movie.
Yeah. I haven't watched it. Still waiting for it to arrive, but
Yeah,
on
for
HBO or something like that over here in the
yeah.
States. But yeah, but I guess it's traditional versus more modern
Mm,
content creation process, Masuko.
yeah. Yeah, when I was watching that movie in the theaters, it had some moments that I was thinking like this would be pretty hard to pull off the traditional way.
By hand. Yeah,
Yeah, and if it would be possible, it would take like so much effort that probably wouldn't be worth it.
yeah. Ghibli do use sort of software. They've used the same software for decades. It's probably their own software now because I think
Yeah.
it was free of charge at the time, and then it disappeared or the company went out of business. But they maintained it, they used it, they've upgraded it, and they continue to implement it. I forgot what it was called, but I think it was last year we were talking about Ghibli. Is that right, Mr. Stubbs? I can't
We
remember
were.
last
I
time.
need to start watching Ghiblis again. I
Yeah.
haven't watched because I was enjoying them, really enjoying them.
Mm.
Especially which one was it? Where the fish becomes a girl or boy?
Ponyo.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
that was
Oh,
amazing. My missus like that, and
Mm.
some of the kids were watching it.
Ponyo.
That
Ponyo.
Ponyo, that was really really good. I thought it was amazing. I
Have you not
did.
seen the sequel? Have you not seen the sequel called Masuko?
That's very funny.
Mm.
Or Masuko's Delivery Service?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
My neighbor Masuko.
Yeah.
I would want to be in that.
Masuko Rosso.
Exactly.
And the best one, I think, is what is it? Princess Masuko. Sorry, Masuko. We really shouldn't treat our guests like this, Mr. Stubbs. It's all your fault.
Well, he's more. He's a guest, but he's more part of the show when he can be on it. He's on that frequently. Yeah, it's good to have you on. It is.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I hope
Masuko.
you stop. Go back to watching those.
I will, because they're on net. A lot. Well, I'm not saying all of them are, but a lot of them were on Netflix. A lot of them were. No, I'm not saying every one of them because they're not going to be.
My personal favorite is Porco Rosso, so check that out. It's like really, really like it makes you feeling like you would want to visit Italy and enjoy the food again.
I don't know what your favorite is, Mr. Stubbs, but I like Masuko knows I really, really love Kiki's Delivery Service. I watch that a lot. I like Spirited Away and what is it? Howl's Moving Castle. They're probably my top three.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're the best movies or the best stories. I just enjoy watching those.
I remember, but I watched one called Howl's Castle. That was I really enjoyed that. I did. Beautiful. And I watched another one where I don't know the name of it, but it was where a little girl or boy, on the two, moved to somewhere with their mum and dad. And they all went through a tunnel into a place where they were eating food and they got turned into pigs.
Spirited Away.
That's it. And that was good. But bloody good one.
That was. Brilliant movie. Yeah.
That's it. I enjoyed that one. I was like, don't eat the food. I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, that one was really good. That was.
There's some, Mr. Stubbs. There's some fantastic, animes you can watch on Netflix.
I need to.
Amazon Prime.
I've got both of them.
Yeah, there's one that I really like is Death Note.
Death Note. Okay.
I'll note that. There's an episode. I'm trying to remember what it was called. I watched it just recently, called Overcast, and it's one of the best episodes. It's quite phenomenal, actually. It's almost like a 20-minute story encapsulate on it, standalone story in one episode.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's quite phenomenal. I don't really want to talk about it because I don't really want to give away anything about it. But I don't know. Have you watched Death Note, Mr. Masuko?
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance, have a look at episode called Overcast. I think Outcast or Overcast is like one of the early ones. And still, like 20 years on, it's quite phenomenal. And so is the music. You can watch all of these, Mr. Stubbs, but Delicious in Dungeons is quite good fun as well.
Yeah. And
I'm just about to ban someone from the chat. Whoever you are, you can do one.
Yeah. So Netflix has a lot of like classical, like monumental anime series. Like it has Neon Genesis Evangelion. It got Monster there, Death Note. It got what else? Berserk. Yeah, Berserk. It got the original Berserk that is
I haven't watched that.
Yeah, it shows like its age a little bit, but it still works. It is amazing one. Yeah, and VJ, you would 100% love that one because it's like this Goblin Slayer, but more mixed with medieval shenanigans, like power battle.
Masuko, you got me at shenanigans.
Yeah. It is worth of your time. Both of your time. Yep.
That's a oh my goodness, we haven't heard that word in a long time.
Shenanigans. No, shenanigans.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. When on my travels, when I used to travel a lot and meet people from other civilizations, other cultures, other backgrounds, and they speak English with you, and their English is excellent. I mean, my Finnish is non-existent, Masuko, so I do apologize. But and like Masuko will just now, they will suddenly start, because they watch, American TV, British TV, and maybe they're watching stuff from 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years ago. They use certain words, in their sentence, certain vocabulary in their sentences or in their greetings or explanations, and you think, wow, I haven't heard that word for so long, and it just it just brings back fantastic memories. Yeah, I don't know if it's the same for you, Mr. Stubbs, but yeah, I find it fascinating, and it makes me laugh sometimes. I've spewed out my beer a few times. Let's put it that way. In laughter, in laughter, not in disgust. In laughter. Let's get that straight.
Yeah.
Sorry, Masuka. Please continue.
Yeah, I think Stubbs already moved to the next point of our discussion.
Oh no, I just thought I'd put it on. We can keep talking about anime, no problem. We can.
No. Sorry, Mr. Stubbs. Please go ahead.
So a while ago, everyone had seen loads of tweets from the company that makes a game called Hypercharge. It's been out since 2017 on the PC. I've never played it, but it's getting its final. There's been a reveal trailer of the game it's on now. I believe it's a solo dev, and it's a fun game about being basically an action man. It's a shooter, and it's coming out on the 31st of May. Pre-orders available, obviously, on the store, and it looked quite a fun game. There's no mention it's coming to Game Pass, just to pre-order it, so I'm guessing it's not coming to Game Pass, but it's got a multiplayer and campaign by the looks of it, and it's been a long time coming. It has. It's into the graphics now. You're basically an action man. Looks quite fun. And there's split screen as well. You can play in your same house as well.
Yeah,
I think the split screen go up, and there's a multiplayer, 300 customizations. It looks really good. If that's one person making it, if that's really what it looks like, that would be really good. It will be.
Reminds me of a Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, Toy Story.
Yeah. When they're in the store. Yeah. Yeah. It looks really good, Mr. Stars. I mean, I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
I
think this came out in
2017
on the Switch.
Did it? Did it?
Quite some time ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So they have been working with the or making the Xbox version for quite some time.
Oh.
And the Switch version got really good reviews.
That's good. That's good.
So people liked it. Yeah.
Well, it's a solo dev. I mean, you can do all you can because he hasn't got the. But he does look good. Looks really good. Guardian Grimwell was saying the developer was talking about it on TikTok and showing it off, and reckons it looks quite good because he'd obviously show you more in that bit than he would in the trailer. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
But it looks fun.
It looks like
basically Toy Story, doesn't it? The shooting game.
Yeah. And it always it's when you are like squeezed into this kind of small character in a everyday world, it makes your imagination run wild. So this is the kind of games like if when you would have been younger, you would have been totally
definitely
like engrossed in this
I'll
kind of.
have to show this one to my son, see what he thinks of it.
Yeah, totally. Ask his opinion.
You may like it.
Yeah.
Find out how much it is. I haven't looked at how much it is. I don't know. 20 quid, I'd guess, probably. That's just a guess. But I've also got another trailer here for one VJ and yourself will probably like. Metamorph it.
Metaphor ReFantazio.
That's it. The King's Trial trailer. I found this.
Nice.
I know both you will probably like this, or
Yes.
dive into it at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
It's from the same people that made
Persona.
That's it.
Persona
That's it.
3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
Stubz, was it so that you also started like Persona 5 when it came to Game Pass?
Bloody annoying, yeah. Because I want to play it again and it's not working because it's not in Game Pass. Yes.
They took it away.
Yeah,
Okay.
they did.
Okay.
They've got Persona 5 Tactical now in there, I think.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as obviously. Well, it probably is the same, but they're shrunken down. But
I just wanted to say,
yeah.
Mizuko, this game and Mr. Stubz, I'm really, really looking forward to this game. I finished Persona 3 Reload recently, and obviously I've spent tons and tons and tons of hours in.
Go on. What's the final count?
In Persona 5. I can't remember Persona 5 now because it was so long ago. Well, not that long ago, but long enough for me not to remember as I played so many games in between. And
I see you, Luke Steele, playing Hades 2 on Steam. If you're watching, I see you just pop up. It's out now, VJ. If you didn't know, Hades 2 in early access.
I didn't get on with the first one, but I might have to give it another chance. But I just wanted to mention something on this game about the key protagonist. And I don't know if anybody has noticed it because it looks like Alucard, doesn't it? The blonde character with the white jacket from Castlevania. Sorry, my point being is I was playing a ton of Diablo. I finished a campaign and I put in about over 100 hours into that, and I enjoyed it. It passed the time. It was, it wasn't very taxing or anything, and I didn't really have to focus on it too much. And as I was playing Diablo, there's the villain obviously is Lilith, and she's got an eye condition called, I can't really remember. Is it called heterochromia or something like that? I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but basically what it is, your irises are two different colors. So you'll find people in the world I mean in the real world, not in the game world, where one eye will be blue, the other might be yellow or brown and black or whatever, right? So two different iris colors, and I think I can't remember which way around it was, but basically her left eye I think is blue and the right eye is gold or something like that. And funnily enough, if you look at the protagonist in this game, the one with the white jacket, he has the same eye colors as Lilith.
Yeah.
And it just struck me, okay, they haven't talked about it or anything in the game. So after noticing that Lilith from Diablo 4, the main protagonist, shares the same traits as this character, I had as I said, golden right color and a blue color or something for the left eye. I was really interested to figure out what is the meaning or what is there a myth or is there a legend or pertaining to this particular sort of style or design, right? So I remember I did a quick research on it, and apparently it's a superstition, like perhaps in Eastern Europe, it was like sort of some sort of pagan ritual or pagans or witches or something that denote witches' eyes basically. And then in sort of, I think it was like in Native American cultures, they believed that these were eyes granted to those that can see ghosts and the ability to see between heaven and earth and stuff like that. And it was really interesting because Diablo doesn't really lean into the colors of the eyes and what they denote or what they mean. And perhaps they do, perhaps I just haven't looked into it further enough. But it's just that because I noticed it on this character in a completely different video game that's not even released yet, I was just really interested to see, because P Studios, they don't do anything by random. No design they create is random. Everything has a meaning. And I'm just wondering, because I spotted it, maybe the people say, oh, it's just got different eye colors, doesn't really mean anything or whatever, just ignore it. But I'm wondering if there's some sort of deep underlining, underpinning sort of story to why his eyes are like that and what they mean, and specifically into this game. But I'm really hoping that it provides sort of some depth or some sort of a soul or a history, and an underlining value to the sort of media that they're creating, and like indie games would say, like a layer of richness, right, to a video game. I just thought it was. I know it sounds really boring what I'm saying, but I just thought it was quite fascinating, really, and I was just pleased that I spotted it and got a chance to talk about it. So I didn't know you were going to talk about this game, Mr. Stubbs, but it's I don't know what you call that, a little tidbit for you, right?
Yeah, it's interesting.
In terms of design, the choice, and as I say, P Studios, the designers there, they don't do anything by chance. They think about everything really carefully, and it'd be really interesting how they weave the meaning of these eyes into this game and what it means for the protagonist, etc. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah, totally. Like I understand what you are saying, Vijay. Like
I'm glad one of us
this
does,
director, this director, this Katsura Hashino. So he's the one who worked with as director for Catherine, the the game that I have been trying to get everybody to play for so long time. So that game was heavily, going to the religious side of Judean, religion, and the other religions from that area. So not just Judean, but other like religions also that were in this area, and it's like it's not a surprise that they are also going with this kind of references with this game.
No,
also.
definitely, because Masuko, you see, because of the meaning of the eyes, right there. I think in Greek, if you've got like two different colored eyes, depending on the color, blue and green or something like that, the Greek would, as I said to you, some cultures would think, oh no, that's because you're into witchcraft or because you can see ghosts. But the other mystical meaning behind having two different eye colors is that you can also have the ability to see glimpses of the future. And I guess what I'm saying, Masuko, I don't know about Catherine too much. I haven't played it, but it'd be really interesting how they use the eyes, if they do at all, right? Perhaps I'm completely mistaken and reading too much into it. Is how they implement that into gameplay, or a gameplay mechanic, perhaps, or a storytelling mechanic, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, they could totally like make it a mechanic with this game.
Yeah, I just really hope it's got a meaning behind it, and I'm not totally talking rubbish.
Yeah. No, but it's always like always. I think it's like when there is some kind of like legends or religion or some kind of this kind of folklore or whatever. If it because many of these things, no matter like what do you believe or what are your like this kind of how you view these things, no matter what you think about them, they still are like very innate things that resonate with people, because they they normally are this kind of basic fears or basic things that we like that create these stories that we tell to each other.
No, definitely. And I kind of, I don't know if I've given you sort of like different eye colors, 4 different cultures and 4 different meanings, right? And it's ultimately all created by man, and we don't ultimately have all the facts, right? What we believed 100 years ago is completely different to what we believe today, right? So, and it'll be, no doubt, it'll be the same in 100 years from now. No doubt, Mr. Stubbs will still be playing his Sega Dreamcast on, and wishing.
I haven't played it in ages. I haven't actually.
But the only other thing I wanted to mention about Metaphor ReFantazio, if you don't mind, Mr. Stubbs, is
fine.
Obviously traditionally the Persona games have been turn-based games, fantastic turn-based games, with immense amounts of strategy involved. This game allows you to now go and affords you real-time combat, so you can fight in real time depending on the enemy, and then obviously if the enemy is really really powerful, then perhaps you want to opt for strategy. Otherwise, you're potentially going to be wiped out otherwise. And it's really interesting because I don't know if you remember, Masuko, when Dragon Quest 12 was announced. It was a few years ago now, and they mentioned that they were switching up from turn-based, traditional turn-based games, and implementing sort of more of a real-time slash strategy combat system. And 3 years later, you've got this game from P Studios, quicker than Dragon Quest, who is struggling at the moment. And it's funny that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't say because I don't know how long this game's combat system's been in production or in design phases. But they announced it. These guys have seemingly implemented it, and it'd be funny, like, that then with Dragon Quest 12 struggles, that they look at this game and think, yeah, that's how we should implement it into our game. Sorry, I'm not as buttery smooth today with my sentences because we just haven't done a podcast in a while, so it's just like I'm not quite up to speed. But I hope I'm coming across okay, Mr. Stubz.
Stubz, how did you like the turn-based combat, like in Persona 5, or are you more like action role-playing game type that you like more?
Disappeared on us, Masuko.
Oh, okay.
I don't know because he didn't respond to me, and I thought, okay, Masuko's going to have a go. But I hope he's not falling asleep.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm looking forward playing this one because this is like I would have to say that this game looks like the most ghibli Atlas game ever. Like it's like oozing this kind of huge world that has all sorts of like this kind of mechanical things that are maybe linked to magic, maybe, or maybe some other thing that makes them really like out of this world. So it's one of those things that in Ghibli movies that I'm always enjoying, that they create this kind of imaginative vehicles and other things that are like really resonating with my imagination.
It's really interesting you say that, Masuko, because now that I'm looking at it, looking at the, like what you've just mentioned, the visual style, the shaders, the music. I don't know if you've heard the music on the trailers. I know we can't play it here, but do have a listen. It's phenomenal. But I'll tell you the games it reminds me of is Nier Automata a little bit. It also reminds me, what other games is there? Howl's Moving Castle vibe. To a degree, especially the way that you traverse across the maps in your sort of your like Noah's Ark or ship, and so on and so forth. But and it has when you move into the towns, like you say, it has kind of a medieval Victorian Howl's Moving Castle vibe to it. One of the towns does for sure, because obviously there's many cities that you can travel to. But it's not as Victorian or medieval as, say, Bloodborne, but I know what you mean in terms of the Ghibli style, if that makes sense.
And Nausicaa is another one that had a little bit this kind of style. Yeah.
And the overworld map, if you see, you should know this because you spent 10 hours playing the demo, I believe, was it reminds me a little bit of the Unicorn Overlord map.
Yeah, that's true. I really enjoyed that game, even though it's like it's
paper scissors.
Yeah. Even though it's a little bit like that, the story, the music, and the art, it's like I was saying to Stubbs that we could have like this kind of topic, like a general topic, like
about
engagement in games.
Yeah, you are
You
right.
disappeared on us, Mr. Stubbs. We were asking you questions.
Sorry, it was I was requested by one of the kids. Sorry.
I see.
I was.
You was extorting their pocket money, were you?
No. He always wants something.
They're extorting your pocket money.
No, weren't money related this time.
Oh, just kidding, Mr.
I know.
Stubbs. Just kidding.
Well, no, I think
we were just. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no, go on.
No, we were asking Masuko. Go ahead, Masuko. You had a question for Mr. Stubbs.
Yeah, I had a question. Like, when you were playing Persona 5, like, how did you feel about the combat system? Are you okay with turn-based combat, or are you more like up to action-based role-playing games?
Well, I don't mind it now because of what's that game called? I've gone black. Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Yeah.
I got used to that. I haven't played in a while. I've got to start playing it again. It's my fault I didn't upgrade the shields, etc., and the weapons. I forgot about the lady with the garage. I did. It's my fault. But yeah, I do like the turn-based style of the games, but I do sometimes miss the brawler elements because you don't max out certain bits straight away. You don't like certain power moves. But yeah, I do like it now. I was liking Persona 5, but I just stopped playing it. But now I wish it really kept going because it's not in Game Pass. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Is there like certain like what are your favorite role-playing games, or are there like role-playing games that you really like?
Well, the only close to role-playing games I like is obviously the Yakuza series. And this game on screen does look actually quite good. I don't know if you call these role-playing games though. Do you?
Yeah, no, it is see, I used to call them action RPGs. I didn't know action RPG was exclusively used to describe games like Diablo or No Rest for the Wicked. But the thing is, it's an RPG. There's action in it. So why isn't it an action RPG? Perhaps I'm out of touch, Masuko, Mr. Stubbs. But
you can call it whatever you want, really. You can.
Yeah,
I don't think the company's that bothered, really. As long as you buy it or whatever.
But you really have to look at this game closely because
I actually grabbed it just before the show. This trailer.
I'm so pleased you did because I wanted to talk about the eye condition, heterochromia, or whatever.
I wasn't planning on it, but then when Masuko said, Removable Sanity said he couldn't make it, I just went to the Xbox channel and grabbed a load of trailers. Thought, VJ were like that, and Masuko, so I grabbed that one. And I didn't know you were wanting to talk about it, so it works out well, didn't it?
You can see I'm kind of obsessed with it, right? The level of detail I've been monitoring this game with, and sending Masuko trailers about this game and developer interviews about it, because I'm going to play it. Because I was wondering why I didn't pick up what was it? Yakuza Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I kind of made an excuse to myself. I'll play Rebirth when it comes out on the PlayStation 5 Pro, and play it in its finest possible form. But I kind of realized in myself I kind of got a little bit tired of playing those games because I kind of know what to expect, especially when it comes to Final Fantasy, not in terms of the story related to Infinite Wealth. And then when I saw this, I realized this is something completely different, completely fresh. And it's kind of an evolution of what P Studios have previously done. But at the same time, not only evolving their engine, evolving their gameplay design, but evolving the music, but while still maintaining the core creative group, a bit like what Dragon Quest has done, right? Up until now, up until Akira Toriyama's demise. I just see a tremendous amount of potential in this. And as I said to you, if I watched the trailers over and over again to the point where I was into the music, the music is quite phenomenal in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know what else is coming out this year, but this No Rest for the Wicked, some of the other games that have come out already this year, I wouldn't be surprised if they're all sort of vying for Game of the Year. But I don't know what else is coming. What else is being released for the rest of this calendar year up until December. I don't know what you guys think, but this is right up my alley. But it's just me, right? It's preference, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah. Well,
Studio Zero, not P Studios. I'm so sorry, Studio Zero.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that there is a high chance that this is going to be a good one because Persona 3 directed by Katsura, so Catherine directed by the same guy, and this game directed, and Persona 5 also. So
I didn't know that Masuko, that the same director directed Catherine, and now you've put Catherine further up my personal gaming food chain. It's all your
Yep,
fault.
yep. You are not going to see another game like that. I can promise you. It's like
Yeah.
it's like it's like so like a mix of this kind of you know it's the foundation for Persona 5, the kind of, because they made the engine there, they made the social aspect in a more refined way, and they carried it out to Persona 5. But the big thing about Catherine is that they are like guys in their 30s, and they are spending their time in the pub talking about their life, and the story goes on from there to a more imaginative place. So
no different to Mr. Stubbs' usual Friday night.
yes. I hope that Stubbs doesn't have to climb the Babylon Tower in his dreams.
No, you're all right.
You know, there's the other game you mentioned, Misuko, Shin Megami Tensei 5. See the visual style for that, it doesn't speak to me as much as this game does.
Yeah.
I don't know how I don't know why. I wish it would, but maybe. But I think Mr. Stubbs, we spoke about it, right? As the years go by, the older you get,
Yeah,
your
it's
tastes change, right? So maybe in the future my taste may well change, because Persona 5 was the first game I played in the series, funnily enough, and I thought playing Persona 3, oh, it may not be as good as Persona 5, but actually it's just as good, if not better, because it has different unique mechanics to it, besides story and soundtrack and music and everything, which are really key components to any video game. So but
did you like the story more also?
I think they're both fantastic, Masuko. I think they both have a fantastic set of characters. I think they both maintain one similarity they do have, even though they're dissimilar in some ways, in terms of is the humor. I really enjoy. And it's just like I say one game is like, I know it's not like that, but one game is set in Tokyo, another set in Osaka, and Osaka and Tokyo are just so different culturally. So Osaka's a lot more laid back. The people are different as well. Even the food is different to some degree. But yeah, I enjoyed both, Masuko. I if you asked me to choose between the two, I couldn't. I suppose Persona 5 is a little bit modern in terms of the dungeon mechanics, etc. And but it doesn't diminish Persona 3 in any shape, way, or form. And for many, Persona 3, I would argue, is their favorite. Well, Persona 4, I haven't played. I hope they remake that as well. But I mean, you can just see, as Mr. Stubbs would tell you, like on the Steam, it's all the reviews are overwhelmingly positive as far as I recall.
Yes, Steam review system's quite good. It is.
Yeah, it is. It is very reliable. Yeah.
Beautiful lighting in this game as well, Masuko, in Metaphor. Beautiful lighting.
Yeah, so it says the 10th of November this year.
It says. Don't have to wait that long.
No, it's not that long. And it's interesting, Sega or Atlas released a trailer recently, and it wasn't like on the Xbox channel, it wasn't on the PlayStation, it was on their channel. And it was interesting, they only advertised the Xbox format. So it seems to me that
Microsoft's involved with it
to some degree. It's releasing on both formats, but it's like, oh, why would you launch a platform-specific trailer at the end credit,
what they
rather than advertise that it's available on all formats, which it is.
what happens is PlayStation do it too. These days, Xbox, they make their own version of a trailer and set it at PlayStation, and they don't put Xbox or PlayStation in them.
No, but that's predominantly for their own trailers or own showcases. But when a third party typically announces a trailer, and I haven't, you may be right because I haven't seen this, but that was the first time that on a third party, like it was like EA, putting a trailer out on their website and saying, "Hey, this is a game and it's only coming out on and only putting the PC logo on," where it would have all the logos on, right? That's why I was surprised that on the Atlas channel itself, it doesn't even have a PlayStation.
Oh, right. I didn't know that.
It only has the Xbox version. Yeah, it was crazy. I was not even PC.
See, I grabbed this from the Xbox channel. It actually let me download it for once. What my app did. But I didn't
know what's going on there, but I thought it was an interesting note.
Yeah, no, it is interesting.
Not fatal or anything.
It is, but I know you.
Have you played Hades, Stubz, Mr.?
I have got it. I'm bloody terrible at it. I gave up in the end. UK Dazarus, though, is bloody good at that, and he's I believe he's getting Hades 2 tomorrow. I think a friendly pest gifted it to him, I think.
Yeah, I saw on X that
because he's so good at Hades 1. He loves Hades, and he'll play the crap out of it if he loves it. But Hades 2, he will. But yeah, it's a bit of a surprise, wasn't it? Do you know they're going to do a shadow drop? Here it is, the early access. It was no advertised, it was here it is.
Will you play it, either of you?
I probably won't.
Is it your sort of game, Masuko?
Well, I think I will try it out. It's
I reckon I've got that. I may try it. I reckon I've got this on the click. Carry on talk. I reckon I've already got this one.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, I think it's a very, very solid game. It's I'm not sure like if it's exactly going to be my type of game. Like it's like I had that the idea that we could have played or not talked about this kind of topic of what makes like game engaging for you guys. So it's like what is like let's say Vice, you are very much looking up to this ReFantazio, but not to Shin Megami Tensei 5. So what are the things that normally makes you gravitate to one and not the another one?
I think the way that the lines are drawn, they're very sharp, very angular, the body proportions, etc. It's like if I was going to visit a planet, would I visit the world of Shin Megami Tensei, or would I can't even pronounce it, or would I visit I don't know, the world of Evangelion or the world of ReFantazio? And there's just, when I see the world of ReFantazio, it's like, or Metaphor, and I know that the games have gone before in terms of the Persona series. Those are the worlds that that is the world that draws me in. Can I put it like that? And there's no way of sort of intellectually putting it and saying, oh, blah 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 blah, and this is what's happening to me on an internal level, and this is why I want to go there. It's just you automatically gravitate through perhaps an inner yearning as to why you want to, why you're attracted to something specific. It's very difficult to explain, right? It's like, well, why do you prefer blondes over brunettes, right, or redheads? Perhaps you're attracted to all three. I really don't know, but it's hard because it's really difficult to use words. Sometimes, I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you know this line. Yeah, words are very unnecessary. They can only do harm. I don't know if you're old enough, or if you're into that much into, but it's a line from one of Depeche Mode's songs.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with Depeche Mode.
I haven't heard maybe that song. Have to check
Yeah,
it.
I'll send you a link to the song. It's a really famous song, really good song. But yeah, they say that words are very unnecessary. They can only do harm, and to a large degree they can, because I haven't played the game and I kind of feel every word I'm using to sort of tell you why I don't want to play it seems like
Mhm.
I'm not only doing the game harm, I'm doing myself harm and doing the game injustice, right, at the
Yeah,
same time.
yeah,
So there's an audience for everything, and it's like you were talking about anime earlier. There's some animes which I never watched back in the day.
yeah,
10, 15 years later, I can't get enough of it, and it's just timing, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and even if you look at like games like Elden Ring, the game came out 2 years ago, and some people are only buying it now because sometimes it really is down to timing and taste, what you've recently played, what you want to play, what you want to experience, and something suddenly drops in your lap. It's just the way it is. So for me to say, as for that James Bond film, Never Say Never Again, or
Yeah,
whatever it was called,
yeah,
you just never know. At some point, I may watch an anime, and the first thing I want to do is go and play Shin Megami Tensei.
yeah.
But I hope it's good. It's is it something you're looking forward to, right?
Yeah, yeah. The last one I played was the fourth entry, and it was on the 3DS, and it's they are like they are the more darker version of Persona, so they are more like
Mm.
this kind of if I would use maybe the heavy metal version of Persona,
Yeah.
if that would be a good way to describe the difference between like
Oh,
the
okay. Yeah. No,
happy
it's
pop of Persona, and then there's the heavy metal of Shin Megami
is it
Tensei.
is it by the same designers as say that work on the Persona games, or is it a different group of
Yeah, it's a
creators?
different team. So
Okay.
yeah, they are like they are different team, and I don't know how much overlap there is, but
See,
they
gaming
yeah.
See, gaming can be very selective. It can be very self-serving, even
Mm,
narcissistic to a point. But I
mm,
think there's another quote. I don't know who said it, but there's a really famous quote, an old one, which says, your energy flows where your attention goes.
mm,
Basically, you see something, you're focused on it, and you pour everything into it. And
mm.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I played Hades 1 a little bit. I didn't like it,
Mm,
but Hades 2 I might like, and then go back to Hades. I just have no idea. But I know it's hot
yeah.
topic today.
Yeah. Yeah.
But talking of that, how have you got on with Rebirth and with Infinite Wealth?
They have been now on the back burner. I have been playing these.
Oh,
I wanted to play some of the smaller games. Like I was talking in the start of the show. So they are like I have been talking with stubz. Like sometimes you feel like you don't want to play games,
Yeah.
but then you find something different and maybe a little bit shorter, more concise than a
yeah,
huge RPG, and then it reignites your. Um,
Have you played this one, Children of the Sun?
yeah, I
Because
did,
I'm
I did.
sure we didn't get to it talking about it last time, did we, you, Ron?
No, we did,
Oh, we
we
did
did.
get to it, so I can't
Yeah,
remember.
remember talking about it
Yeah.
with you guys that last time. Yeah. So stops like have you find any smaller games lately,
I
like
need,
from Steam?
I need to actually get back because there's obviously unfinished Swan on the PC I need to get to.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, smaller games. I've not played anything recently. I need to
yeah,
actually play
yeah,
some actual games. I'm gonna go after we finish here. I'm gonna have a look on the
yeah,
Xbox. But yeah,
yeah,
there are some smaller games I want to get to, like Unfinished Swan, because
yeah,
if what remains of Edith Finch is anything to go by, it should be great.
yeah,
It should be. And that was
he's
your recommendation. It was.
been busy
yeah.
playing the game of life, Masuko.
Yes. Yeah. Been studying well my exams, but if you don't know, I passed my RSPH level 2 pest award in pest management. So basically, it's like involves exam on vertebrates, which is like your rodents, basically backbone. And invertebrates is your insects, basically, and legislation and health and safety. I passed the basically the vertebrates first time around in November, and in April I redone my invertebrates, which I failed, not by a lot, and the same legislation and health and safety, which is one exam, so it's 2 hours worth of exams, and I found out Wednesday that I passed. So I also do content creation, like people, obviously I do this podcast, which I do enjoy, but I do actually do content creation in pest control, and I get quite a lot of views and reach, so it's doing quite well, and I am actually diving into working on podcasts in that field, and I'm doing a newsletter now, which I now have since I launched it. 111 people signed up to it at the minute over on LinkedIn. But yeah, I do enjoy talking about pest control. So it is my job and my career. But since I've had the RSPH level 2, I've done a lot of that. But that's what I've been doing. I've got to try and get back into gaming again. I have now, but the busy season's coming soon. The wasps, they're coming. They're about at the minute. I don't imagine you really see wasps, do you? They can't really survive. There's no way they could survive in Finland. I know you said I know you said rats could, but I don't believe that the wasps could somehow.
Well, we like the bumblebees are going around already, so there
I don't touch them, obviously.
We got the smaller variety of bees, but we don't have the huge.
Just to clarify, people, I don't treat bees. I don't do anything to do with bees whatsoever. Just wasps, by the way. I don't do bees. No, I don't.
Are they more dangerous?
No, it's just the fact that it's more moving. It's more moving. You've got to like move them. Yeah. It's more of a specialist field. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of money in it if you're good at moving bees, but you've also got to get a contractor that can also work with you. So although it can end up costing customer X amount of thousands of pounds, it can. But yeah, it's a specialist field. I don't do it. I don't. But other pest controllers do, where they just move them. You know,
Did you see the shorts? There was like couple of years ago, some woman was like very popular in the shorts, doing this bee removable, like moving them, and it looked like so zen, so peaceful, like just like without any protection, like
it can happen. It can happen. They use like, well, she's spraying some what looked like air.
They didn't show that point.
It calms them down.
Okay.
If you spray them with it, it doesn't hurt them. I don't know what it is. It calms them down. But you always get people doing that, and you'll find out she probably did get stung, but not on camera, because it can happen.
Yeah.
It can, but no, we don't deal in that field. We don't. No, we just do wasps and moths and stuff like that, ants and all that business, and rats and stuff like that. But no, yeah, that's the kind of content I do. But I'll be doing the podcast in that, not on this channel, obviously, under different brands. But my reach and following in that field is getting bigger and bigger. But I do enjoy it. But I will one day be at a pest control convention. That's the goal for the future. But I think I might have to do my RSPH level 3, and that's on another level. That's another level stuff, that is. You're nearly scientist when you're going to get that kind of stuff. But maybe one day I'll think about it. But but that's and I've been focusing on the gym. Been going to the gym.
Yeah,
I have. Working on my since I broke my knee. My mobility is improving no end since I started basically just eating main meals and cutting the crap out. And since I've been doing the gym with obviously leg rehab, I know how to do it myself. I don't have a PT. My mobility, and with the recommendation of VJ, the knee strap he told me to get, it's improved no end, because when I have to go down to the floor, still doesn't feel very good. But with the padding, it's much better. But the mobility, the mobility with the gyms especially helped it get stronger and stronger. Technically, I mean, when I went on the scales, I looked like I lost a pound. But I know what it is. In the picture, when you see me, I have visually lost weight. But because you put muscle on, it's swapped it. Because my legs are so weak. That's what it's done. So I am losing, but it was like
I actually had another theory, Mr. Stubbs. I actually thought it's because you'd left your wallet in the locker. And all those pound notes. They were weighing you down before.
Yeah, no, I do like cash. I'm one of them people.
I think Masuko's not laughing because he knows it's the truth.
Yeah.
you remember VJ like in like a decade ago in China, like how much people were carrying around cash with them. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And then, are there any like surprise when people like rob them?
Well, yeah, I mean, cash is good, but the problem is now everyone's fed into what the banks want. The banks are getting no end of money now because everyone's going with the cards. You see, cash is good still, but obviously I don't always use cash because obviously for business and stuff I use the card. But
in Asia, I mean, I don't know about now, Masuko, but during the 90s, early thousands, a lot of trade. A lot of Westerners doing trade for various bits and pieces. It's hard to sometimes transfer money as well in China. So, cash was king, as you would say.
Yeah, I make a lot of posts on cash on king. Cash is king. But every so often I do. But no, sorry, Indy, there'll be no WAS talk because unfortunately, Removable Sanity couldn't make it. So, not happening. Should be if he's back next week, I'll get him to talk about WASD, but he couldn't make it, unfortunately. But good to hear you're all right, and welcome Paul S. There's shout out. Sorry I didn't notice earlier, but I apologised in chat. I did, but yeah, no, I've been doing a lot of live stuff recently. I've been gardening more active, more. Listening to audio books and things like that. I don't listen to a lot of gaming podcasts at all. In fact, you probably down to probably one or two. It's literally that low. I listen to other stuff now. I do. To be honest, that's why I'm.
Has there been some good audiobook that you have been listening?
Yeah, I mean, I like a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk. It's called Gary V. And it's all to do with social selling, you know, where they're pushing the content. And I listen to a lot of his books because on Spotify now, you get 15 hours of included in premium. It's gone up £1 recently, so I still think it's value because you got your music and you get your 15 hours of audio books. But what I do think is a bit harsh for Spotify. So when you hit the 15 hours, it just cuts you off for audio books, right? But if you want to have another 10 hours, you have to pay £10, so £1 an hour. But I won't do it because you're not actually owning the book, if you get what I mean. You don't ever own the book. You're like renting it as such. And once you've listened to it, you've gone over your hours. You've listened to it again, you can't. You see what I mean? But I do think the 15 hours of audiobooks is good. But audiobooks wise, I was listening to Dario CEO. I need to finish that one.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Not the podcast, the actual book, audio book.
Ah, okay.
Some of the Dario CEO podcasts are good, but I have issues with the way the podcast is done. It's good, but when he doesn't ever ask hard questions or ask them to prove it or anything, he just rolls with what they say. He doesn't fight them, does he? And sometimes I think it's done on purpose because. You know when they say controversial stuff, it hits the headlines, doesn't it? And it draws more traffic in. So I think that's why he doesn't do that. He lets them go with the flow, so it can drive more traffic, because it is one of the fastest growing podcasts in the UK. It's a good podcast. I don't listen to all of them, only when certain people are on. But it is a good one. It is. But a lot of audio books I've been listening to. I listened to recently one called 10X by Grant Cardone, and that's all right. It's all to do with business. A lot of the ones that I've been listening to recently, ways I can improve the business. I don't want to become, a multi-million-pound company, but I do listen to a lot of that stuff, a lot of the motivational stuff, and implement some of it.
Yeah, that's good.
It is, but that's the kind of stuff I've been listening to, because I have got books to read, like Elon Musk's book, but they just sit there. But I listen to the book, right? I'll listen to it, because I listen to a lot of stuff. But when I read books, I end up falling asleep if I read books. But like VJ said, you've got to build yourself up, because if your eyes are weak, you need to build yourself up with reading books. But probably need to actually read the books. It's probably better. It is.
Yeah, those are good. I have been listening lately. There is this kind of training book, like the kind of like a gym book by Saldi Stefano. So it's like there is like a lot of this kind of like talk about how would you train at home, and how to make it as easy as possible, this kind of gym training for yourself.
Yeah, that sounds good. That does.
Yeah. So it's like a very because he was like saying like he had like success with his customers, but then they stopped doing the gym. So he was like, okay, I am having some success, but then people go out, out from the training, how would I say, the regiment.
Yeah.
They don't stick to it. So he's like trying to find a way how people would really stick with it, so make it as easy as possible for people to follow it. And of course, he's like explaining all the benefits that you can find from doing some gym workout, like how it's going to be beneficial for your health and so on. So good stuff.
That's good then. That is. It's good to learn. It is. I like listening to stuff like that just to learn. I do now. I find it more. I enjoy it more when I can learn something. I do. Really.
Yep.
There's learning fronts into pass my test. I'm fucking learning more.
I think that there is one pest control kind of game in Game Pass. It's the
which one is
game
it?
called Kill It with Fire.
Right, I'm getting that one then. I'm going to get that downloaded. Do some pest control in the game.
I think if I'm not mistaken, Masuko, Removable did a review on that game. Is that right?
Did he?
Yes.
I'm not up to date. I better check that out. Really. As soon as he's on podcast, I better check.
It was about 3 months ago, I think.
Yeah, probably. Well, I probably missed it. I do miss them sometimes. You should DM them straight to me.
Yep.
But yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah, it's all good. It is. It's I do continuous training anyway with CPD. I have to get 20 points a year by training to stay a full member. Very easy for me to get. Like I can do a lot, like 10 of them with podcasts, and like the other lot with magazines, and this show. Going to the Pest Tech show I go to once a year, so I can do it easily. But I've got 40 at the minute, because my qualification got me 30. I already had 10, so I got 20 more than I need. But unfortunately, you can't carry it over to the next year. It's meant to be continuous training, basically on the job. So things like that. But yes, I think that's probably about it. I reckon.
Yep.
But
I think we covered most of the stuff that we wanted
well,
to
apart
talk
from WASD, and I didn't really cover the Xbox ID show. I will remove that from the thingy. But that was my fault for not actually watching it. Didn't have time. Been so busy doing the garden this weekend, and actually, I got some tomato plants. So I'm going to keep an eye on it and let you know about the progress. And some bits of grass I'm growing. Smashed up. Did you see the pictures where I smashed up them beds and took them to the tip? Yeah. Well, all the grass under them's obviously dead. So I'm trying to grow the grass in them 3-4 patches there is. So I'll keep you up to date with that. You can. I'll talk about any
strawberries growing. So I just bought some fertilizer for them.
Nice. What kind of like plant food do you mean?
No, strawberries.
Oh, strawberries.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. But yeah, no, we talk about anything, and I like to talk about pest control, as you know, indie gamer. But just bits and bobs since my update. But I am venturing into podcasts for pest control, but it will not be on this channel at all. I am thinking about that. But no, it's anything else anyone wants to talk about? What VJ's been busting it out in the gym recently. I heard he was doing 150 kg deadlifts. Is that right?
No. I don't.
You're a proper boss in it.
I don't subscribe to all that nonsense.
Fair. I'm actually 100 kg leg press, but it sounds a lot. But like you got to remember, because I'm a big chap.
Yeah.
It's your whole body. It's not just like it's your whole body pushing, not just your legs. Everything else I'm very low on, but it's because of how big I am. I can push the extra weight week on week. I've been going. I won't go too far because I've got to be careful. Because patella surgery, but it's going well. That is.
We're going to have to start calling you Hercules.
Well, yeah. When I eventually, you may, yeah. I don't think I'll get to Hercules level, but when I lose a bit of weight, I do look a bit bigger.
You'll be a new WWE superstar called Hercules.
Hercules, WWE. No, you're all right. I don't want to do wrestling.
Is there anyone called Hercules?
No. You wouldn't get away with being called Hercules in this day and age. You'd get laughed at. You couldn't call somebody that in wrestling.
No, not if you go and beat all the legends up on your own. They'll love you. You'll become fashionable again.
Who knows?
He's in training, Misuko, for WWE.
I'm not. It hurts. People think wrestling don't hurt. Obviously, they don't hit each other as such, but their mats they slam onto and jump onto, they bloody hurt. It's just the fact that they're so used to it. It just looks like it doesn't hurt to them, but it actually hurts. They get bruised through them when they jump and they slam their bodies onto it. They do go through. I'm not saying that bit hurts. Obviously, the actual movements. It's just looking like they're punching each other.
Do they not get conditioned? I know this is a bit of a sort of rudimentary way of putting it, but do they not get conditioned, or do they become conditioned, or to the slams? And
yeah, they probably after so long you don't feel it.
I mean, I'm sure they feel it, but not. It doesn't have the same impact.
Some of the stuff they do. I mean, some of the younger wrestlers they do stuff they really shouldn't do. They do these death-defying flips for no reason. They could break their necks doing it, but I don't know why they do it, but they do. But you see a lot of the old wrestlers when they get older, like Hogan. He's had probably every single body part replaced or something, or surgery. You see the way they walk, though.
This is why. This is why I'd prefer an evening of assorted Shanghai dumplings with Masuko than watch wrestling.
I don't watch it very often. I didn't even watch WrestleMania this year. I didn't bother. I was gonna. Did I watch it? I don't remember.
Dumplings or wrestling, Masuko?
Do you like more of the Steam ones or the?
I like the
fight
old
ones?
school wrestling back in the day when they used to watch. I like the older wrestling.
That's a good answer to Masuko's question there,
Yeah.
Mr. Stubbs.
Yeah.
I like steam dumplings.
Yeah.
There's a Shanghai dumpling restaurant in Hong Kong. Shanghai is known for dumplings, Mr. Stubbs, and there's not just like one type. There's lots and lots of different varieties that they make.
I can.
And,
Yeah.
And they're quite phenomenal.
VJ, you have a question
yes?
from an indie gamer. How about martial arts? What do you think to that?
How about martial arts?
If you don't like wrestling,
I do know a bit more about martial arts. That's why I was asking about the conditioning. I know some martial artists. Actually, my uncle over here in the US, he through marriage basically, but he trained under I've forgotten the guy's name, but under some famous martial artist. But he's like 70 or something. But you try to hit him, and if you don't think he's got much muscle, but when you sort of hit in your bone or your wrist or whatever,
grabbed your hand, didn't he?
No, he's not that he's grabbed it, but just striking him, it's painful.
Yeah.
And
from experience, have you tried to punch him?
He's working with. He's old school, like working with wooden dummies, and wooden dummies don't just give you muscles or speed and stuff like that. They kind of condition your bones and your muscle, or I don't know how it works, but it conditions it so that even if they block, it's so painful for the attacker. It's like they don't even have to strike you to inflict pain on you. It's insane. And I don't know if a lot of people know about this, about martial arts, about Wing Chun and other sort of stuff. But obviously, like Masuko, I grew up in loads of 80s and 90s kung fu movies, especially living in Asia.
Those are the best.
They are the best, yeah.
Yeah, the conditioning is like Indy said, is part of martial arts. And conditioning's part of MMA, wrestling, all conditioned now. But
yeah,
I think martial arts is slightly more disciplined.
Yeah, and this is why I was asking. Are these wrestlers not, conditioned to take the kind of hits and body slams? And
sometimes they mess up. They do really hit each other. But like there was one that there was one that broke through. Do you remember MMA fighter Ronda Rousey? Well, she was a champion in UFC, and she went to WWE eventually, and she left the company. There's been a big podcast about the controversies around WWE and the things she said, isn't good. But she was kick ass. She was at MMA.
I mean, the only thing I was going to ask you is, you can see that the things that can happen to professional. I just remember that movie. What was it called? $1 Million Baby, was it? From about 20 years ago with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
And what can happen to you? And when I see, you probably know this, Mr. Stubbs. A question for you. When one athlete grabs another and throws them over the rope and they land on the concourse. How high up are the ropes from the ground? Is it 10 feet? Is it 8 feet? What is it?
Say it's probably. Well, I've been to one in Nottingham years when I was younger. I would say it was probably. Yeah, I would say the ring's probably 6 foot, so the ropes is probably 10. But what you got to remember is they are trained to land properly. But obviously you could mess up your landing, can't you?
Yeah, I know. Like flying through the speed and the velocity that they're thrown, and it's 10 feet. You've got to clear 10 feet and then land on your back.
You got to land right. Yeah, a lot of them mess up, obviously, but they just carry on. It's the way they are. They are. But it's like when Undertaker got pinned at WrestleMania. They all say it was planned to get pinned, but Brock Lesnar. It looked like Brock Lesnar legitimately knocked him out because when he came round, he didn't realise that he thought the match was still on and he looked concussed. But Undertaker's a company man, and he just said it was all planned, but it didn't look like. If you go back and look at it, it looks like it looked like Brock actually hit him because Brock's a bit of a nutter, and it looked like he actually punched him out so he could take his streak off him. Because if you watch it, it does look that way. Because it takes a while to come round. He doesn't realise he's been pinned. Then he gets up and tries to fight again, not realising the match is over. And he looked concussed. But the way they say it is it was planned, but it didn't look it. It didn't.
I mean, just to your point there, if you, I mean, and to Indy's point, you only have to go and watch all the outtakes in Jackie Chan's movies, and there's a famous interview with him as well, where you know, someone's asked him, you know, how many fractures or bones have you broken, and it's pretty much every single bone in his body he's broken over the course of his filmmaking career. And as I say, you only have to watch the outtakes, right? And as Masuko said, you know, they're the best movies, not just him, but his crew, right? His stunt crew.
The Undertaker's one of the hardest in WWE. He's an old man now, but in his day, he would say he'd break his fingers, he'd just strap them up and go out and wrestle. He's a monster of a man. He was. He's a legend, but
who was that? The Undertaker. I remember seeing him.
Yeah, he's had the longest career. And when his streak got broke by Brock, you should see it. There was people crying because every year Undertaker would win and win and win, and when he'd lost, there was people in the audience crying.
Who was his nemesis? Because I remember
he has loads of them over the years.
You know, it was the Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan, right, or something like that. And then I'm trying to remember who was the sort of nemesis or the
There's been loads of them over the years.
Versus the Undertaker, or was he just?
There was somebody that actually died in the ring, WWF ring at the time. It was called. He wasn't due to wrestling. He died. You can't see the footage unless you've got a videotape. It's been scrubbed or edited heavily. One of the Hart found Bret Hart's brother, Owen Hart. He came down. He was basically probably 100 foot above the ring, and you know them. You can hold it, and it's zip line. The zip line broke. He landed wrong, and he smashed his head into the corner post and died on impact. And that wasn't through wrestling. The cord broke. He landed wrong, and he smashed his head into the pillar, and he was dead on impact. But you can't find the footage, obviously, because someone died. But yeah, that wasn't good. That wasn't. He was a good wrestler too. He was. But that's the only time someone's died as such in wrestling. But it wasn't due to wrestling. That wasn't. But Indie Gamer saying he's a big fan of Jackie Chan and his films.
Do you like Jackie Chan? Either of you?
I used to watch Bruce Lee many years ago.
I watched a lot of, like, I put on in the chat, like, there is this director in China called Chui Hawk, and he was like very much like active in the 80s.
Yeah,
and
very famous in Chinese cinema or Asia or Hong Kong cinema. Chui Hawk.
Yeah. So he made a ton of good action martial art movies, and you know, it's really nice to see also not just Jackie Chan in his prime, but also Jet Li in his prime. Like he was also a really spectacle to see in the 80s movies.
It's funny, Masuko. Once Upon a Time in China, we mentioned that on the last show. I think we were talking about a little bit about it. Once Upon a Time in China.
Ah, really?
I don't know if you remember. And just as you mentioned that, Choi Hart, do you remember the movie with Jackie Chan and Yun Biao, Wheels on Meals?
Ah, yeah.
And I really love that fight. I think it's with Billy the Jet at the end.
Yeah.
He was a really phenomenal fighter with Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Towards the end, but.
You know, one of the best things about Jackie Chan's movies is that he always, or not always, but quite often there is like some Western person acting in his movies.
Yeah,
and they are some of the worst performers ever. They are so bad. You are like imagining, like, did he grab any Western person from out from the street in Hong Kong and drag it to the Dead.
Yeah,
You're
yeah. It's
seriously
like someone's just got off an aeroplane, right? An expat from Causeway Bay or from wherever, Long Bay
BJ.
Fang. We're all to say,
Look,
can you just come just be an extra here? Or as long as you've got a ponytail and you look, they always used to look like a parody of who was that guy? Who was that American actor? Oh God, they were all a parody of. It'll come to me in a second. Who was that? Who was that? Who was the actor in Under Siege?
Under Siege.
Under Siege. Remember that movie? Hold on, let me check. Under Siege.
BJ, Indie Gamer is very, very impressed with you at the minute. Look in chat.
Oh, that's nice. I don't know what about though.
You're talking
Under
about my
Siege.
fave now, he said.
I was Steven Seagal.
That's it. Do you
Yeah.
remember a lot of those movies, right?
Yeah.
Like a tall guy with a ponytail. That's it. This is
Yeah.
just like Steven Seagal's brother or something. Especially that one which was filmed in Australia, where he's a cook.
Yeah.
You know, he's a chef, isn't he? He's a chef.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
That
And the
was
villain
pretty
is like Steven Seagal, basically.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
and all of those drunken masters movies.
Wheels on Meals is one of his favourites.
Yeah, it's a good movie, Mr. Stubbs. You should watch it. It's really funny.
I will
Really
then.
funny.
Yeah. I would say like all of his movies are like at least like enjoyable. Like you are not going to feel like you missed out.
Indy's just said that Steven Seagal is the chef in
Under Siege.
Yes,
that's right,
Under
yeah.
Siege. So I see it on my phone. That's it.
And I was just saying, you know, a lot of the sort of arch villains in the Jackie Chan movies, they often look like a parody of of Steven Seagal, tall, you know, sort of slick back hair with a ponytail, you know, with a big mine plus a big cigar, which I don't know if Steven Seagal smokes or not, but it's funny. I think it's hilarious. There's another one where is it Who Am I? He's on when they're on a cruise liner.
Yeah.
It's another funny movie. There's lots, but I think Police Story 2 is one of my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good. Really
I think
good.
Police Story 2 for me has got to be one of my favorite. I like Wheels on Meals. Drunken Master, I think he's already mentioned in the chat.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're really, really, really good movies. And I think the Rush Hour movies weren't bad either, you know, with the fighting and stuff, but not as good as when he was younger and slimmer.
Yeah. Totally.
And I prefer, the funny thing is, Masuko, you know, normally when we play video, I prefer to listen to, you know, the Japanese audio and then read the subtitles. But for those Jackie Chan movies, the dubbing is so hilarious.
It is
I have to watch
totally
it both.
worth it.
I have to watch it, but I have to watch it with dubbing and without dubbing and with subtitles. It's funny. You'd have a laugh, Mr. Stubbs, on a Friday night down the pub with a beer in your hand and watching one of those movies.
Yeah, totally. Like invite a few mates and take some beer, and it's going to be a fun night.
Yeah,
it's funny. Really, really funny.
I'll have to have a look these up. I will, definitely. Indy just mentioned Rumble in the Bronx.
Yeah.
I remember that movie. I think it was one of his first forays into making a movie in the West. I don't think it went as well as it should have done. But I don't think he had he's always had a core group of stuntmen which he's trained with, and they know exactly how he works. So, but I think after that he came back to the US and made another film. In Canada, I think it was. I thought it was about some shop he was working at for his niece or nephew, and she was trying to run it, and then some property developer was trying to pull it down. I forgot the name of the movie, but it was set in Canada. And then after that, I can't remember if he made any more movies in the US, but after that, obviously his big hits came with Rush Hours, the ones I can remember. I'm sure there's others. He's made so many, it's difficult to recall them all.
I just googled like Jackie Chan's movies because he has so many. And do you remember this movie, Armor of God?
Yeah. One of the most classic movies.
I really like this one. It's like it's almost like a parody. It's like it goes that fine line, like.
Yeah, especially those large Amazon ladies, like the sextuplets that he has to fight at the end, and
Yeah.
yeah, he doesn't want to punch them in certain places in case he hurts his hand or damages a breast implant, if you want to call it that. I know that Indy wouldn't hesitate, but there you go. Sorry, Masuko. Should have I gone too far?
I think that was enough.
I'm so sorry. So sorry, Mr. Stubbs.
No, seems like you had fun, and Indie Games definitely enjoyed it in chat. Definitely.
Yep.
Yes. But yeah, I reckon we should round it up.
Watch some of these movies, Mr.
I
Stubbs.
will.
They would cheer you up no end.
I'll have to have a look.
They'll definitely
they're on Netflix and things like that.
And motivate you in the gym.
Were they? Oh, well, I definitely have to watch them, man. Definitely.
Yeah. It's just because it's like you just don't think it's humanly possible. You think he's on ropes or string or something.
Well, I was always impressed with Bruce Lee. It was like the man was a bloody fastest hands ever. I don't think Jackie Chan's good, but I think Bruce Lee was the master.
Mm. But I think that it's also this
But I need to watch some of the movies as well. To be fair, like, to say that. But
yeah, I would recommend like Tui Hawk's movies also, because he was the last director that used like this kind of very, very traditional way of filming and the choreography before it went to more like computer graphics in the big cinemas in China. So he's like one of the last ones of that era.
Yeah.
I definitely need to check some of these out. Definitely. You really got Indie going. You should have had him on the podcast.
There was another movie he mentioned, Mr. Stubbs. I think it was Masuko who mentioned it, Once Upon a Time in China. And it's not just that they're great movies. And Subsam Yi, right? Aunt 13, right? Subsam Yi. I remember some. I can speak a little bit of Cantonese, but not much. But I definitely remember that. And it's not just that. It's the recreation of that time of occupied China at the time, and especially when they go to the restaurants and the way that the tables are orchestrated. People don't really notice. The big like turntables they have, right? In Asia. I don't know if they have them in Western restaurants, but where there's a massive round table, Masuko, and then there's a glass turntable where they put the food on so you can spin the wheel around, right? So everyone can eat what they want, right? Because the tables are so huge. But it's just how they used to, it's just so, I can't say it's super authentic because I wasn't there, but I just like the way that the food is served and how it looks and how traditional it's, and in the traditional way that it's sort of serenaded and so on and so forth. I think it's just fantastic, isn't it, really? And how they prepare for the festivals, etc.
Yeah, and
there's just a lot of culture in those movies besides great cinematography.
Yeah, and this Once Upon a Time in China, it has one of the maybe biggest hits in karaoke. Like this, it translates "Man ought to be strong," and every single Chinese will know that song, and they can sing it in karaoke. It's also like a huge cultural thing, that movie and the song that was in it.
Is it similar to? I mean, I don't know. I can't remember this. I'm sure if I hear it, I'll remember it. But is it? I mean, we talked about this before on the show. Do you remember we spoke about Beyond?
Yeah.
But you can't not talk about Chow Yun Fat when talking about Chinese Hong Kong cinema, right?
Yeah.
Chow Yun Fat. Hard Boiled was a funny movie when I watched that movie.
Yeah.
You must have watched these movies, Mr. Studs, Hard Boiled and The Killer and stuff like that.
No, I haven't.
I'll tell you what, me and Masuko and the chat are here, and basically through video games, movies, and anime, we've just pretty much structured your retirement plan.
Yeah.
Yep. It's going to be a good ride, Stubbs.
Yeah.
I kind of envy you, Mr. Stubbs, because you've got so much to look forward to.
I'm definitely looking them up. I definitely will be. They do sound good. They do.
They're wicked. They're really, really good. That's why I find it really difficult to watch anything modern day, like modern day TV shows, modern day cinema. I just, yeah. I watch it occasionally, very, very, very rarely, but most of the time I shift gears and go backwards, if you want to put it that way. Yep. All good?
Good.
You still there, Mr. Stubbs?
I'm here. I just muted the
there you
mic
go.
again. But yeah.
Oh no, we just noticed it was 3:10. That was all. Sorry.
Yeah, it's be 1:10 for Masuku.
Yep. It is.
Sorry, Masuku.
He's a night owl though. Anyway, but I'll call it there though. I will. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Masuku. It was good of you to let me know you were free. It was good. So thanks for coming on. Do you want to tell people where they can find you if they want to?
Yeah, on X you can find me Mexico_1984, and also in this show, either in the chat or like chatting in audio format. So either way.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to hear. That is. It's always good to have you on. You always offer a good conversation, and you actually come up with more questions than I do, which is great. It is natural conversation. It's always good. It is. So thanks, VJ, for coming on.
Oh yeah, no, thanks for having me, Mr. Stubbs. I know it's been a bit of a while, but I always appreciate coming on and having a chat and catching up with yourself and Masuko, and hopefully Removable next week or whenever we have another show. And,
next week it will.
It's always really fun, and I had no idea we'd end up talking about Hong Kong cinema, etc. So thanks to whoever brought that topic up.
I think Removable will be listening to this because that's up his alley too, isn't it?
I have no idea actually.
I'll have to ask him next week.
I do know him, but I don't know him that well. I don't know anyone that well in the community.
Brother.
So, other than Masuko, because
you now know Indy's into it, definitely. Hades 2. I haven't completed the first one. We did mention it. Will you be picking it up, Masuko? Indy's wondering. Will you be picking Hades 2 up, Masuko?
No, I think maybe if it comes to Game Pass, I will try it out. But I'm not in a hurry to at least play it at the moment.
Fair enough. I don't think you were too into it, were you, VJ?
I tried the first one in Game Pass. I think it was in Game Pass. Please correct me if I've got that wrong. And
yeah, it was. Yeah.
I want to say it didn't grab me, but I think it might have been the fact that I didn't know what I was doing, because I'm not familiar with roguelike games, and I didn't really understand the gameplay loop, and it didn't entice me to keep replaying. Is that the right word? Replaying the same thing again for some unknown purpose. Maybe I didn't understand the mechanics and the setup properly. So I think when you've got so many people talking about a video game in a positive light, and I play all sorts of video games, then I guess if Hades comes back to Game Pass, or Hades 2 at some point, like Masuko's mentioning, then I'll definitely give it another go, and then maybe ask some questions from someone who's really familiar with it to help me along a little bit, and then perhaps I'll fall in love with it, because you can never say never.
That's true. Good to keep open mind.
Yeah. And then obviously I'll keep an open mind as long as your wallet's open for spending.
Exactly.
Sorry, Masuko. I'll pay for the dumpling.
So Thanks for coming on, VJ. And you probably don't want to tell people where they can find you. You never do.
Find me on the show.
Yeah, exactly. Exclusive. And you can find me on this channel and at Stubz Gaming on X. And yeah, that's it. So if you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and any podcast platform, please give us a review. It helps the algorithm, especially Apple Podcasts, which is our highest downloaded on podcast platforms. We've got like one review, yet people keep listening. Please, the 25 to 30 of you, leave us a review. Right then, thanks everyone, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.